Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another one of our lovely live streams. It has been a little while since we've done one of these. We've had a lot of really fun things to kind of come about in the last little while, so it's been pretty exciting to sort of try them. We are here currently in beautiful Geneva. This is Switzerland, and I cannot believe how hot it is in Switzerland. I did not realize it could quite get that warm here. We are on VATSIM today. One of the nice things about VATSIM, of course, is we can actually spy on ourselves and see kind of what we're up to here. You can see we're just sort of parked there up at LSGG, Lima Sierra Golf Golf. For those of you who like to join us on this flight today, we're going to be taking off from here. We're going to be taking a 2-2. We're going to be bouncing our way all the way, way over to LIBP, Lima, India, Bravo, Papa. And it looks like they just started a radar here. So that's going to make things a little more fun for us because I kid you not, this was not on when I actually filed this flight plan. So unfortunately, or fortunately for us, we're going to get the wonderful opportunity to do some instrument stuff. So that actually, kind of fun. It's going to make it a little more exciting than I had anticipated, but that's my fault for doing stuff like that. So we're in the Starship today. Starship is a very neat plane, and one of the things I got to do real quickly is actually get this thing going. It is, like I said, unbelievably hot today. If I just take a look at the cabin, it's 116 degrees. So I'm going to go against standard here, and I'm actually going to get the power started so we can get some AC going before everything starts falling apart on us. Something we could definitely benefit from right away. Alrighty then, I'll go ahead and get that avionics emergency fan basically going right away. One of the things I love about this plane is it's very easy to go ahead and kind of kick on like basically all the systems on it, just to make it a little bit easier. All right, battery, external power, good to go. I love how you can start both at the same time if you're on external power. We have none of our displays or anything like that. Like I say, I'm just in a desperate race to try to get this thing cooled off a little bit. All right, here we're at N1, and very difficult to see. I apologize. 14, 15, 16, 17. That's plenty. That should do the trick there. And again, we're just going to monitoring our temperatures. Like I said, I cannot get over how hot it is in Europe right now. There was a great internet meme that I actually saw the other day where they were showing, Europe or whatever, and it was like a guess for like 2015 what the temperatures would be, and then they showed like today. It's like, oh, this is the actual reality of what the temperatures are, and it's like, holy smokes, kind of a thing like that. Just one of those things. It's unbelievable. There we go. Get that all fired up, and now we're ready to actually hit some buttons here. Like I said, turning this thing on early just in a desperate effort to try to get this thing cold, because like all our avionics in this aircraft will start failing on us because it gets too hot. It's just kind of one of those nice little features that they added. I'm going to jam that as cold as possible. Unfortunately, it means we're going to have to throw in a little more fuel than I wanted to carry. But like I said, too worried about that today. All right, let's reset that. We don't have any special clearance delivery or anything along those lines. I'm just taking a look over at the VATSIM page real quick here. At some point, we will have to contact Lima, India. This will Padova radar, which will be kind of fun when we get there. But like I said, that's a problem for about 25 minutes from now, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure everything's all set as far as stuff around the ground. We won't be doing any damage to that. That's going to come on. Power brake's going to come on. And we're just going to kind of get this thing. I've had quite a bit of time experimenting with this airplane, as you've probably seen in the last few weeks. Really love what they did. And then, of course, our A2A friends had to go ahead and release an airplane that has been 109 degrees. That's enough. They had to release an airplane, of course, if you've been following along with the Aerostar 600, which has just been absolutely fantastic. It's such a cool plane. It really actually makes me feel like a flying. I missed that. All right. For those of you joining us, by the way, we're on the East USA server. We're kind of at the north end of the airport here. Nice to meet somebody else. Simon, how's it going? Way down there. Just kind of all waving in that general direction. All right. Let's go get everything set up. We'll get our flight plan kind of all squared away, and then we're going to kind of get in the air. Our off time is supposed to be 11 o'clock, so that should be pretty darn quick. Should go to the MSG page here. Except current system position should be fine, and we can go to MSG. We should have updated VLF. Very cool ancient system here, but I just want to kind of confirm that everything is where I want it to be. Yep, so we're on GNSS. All right, well, let's do it. LSGG, and we're going to press enter there. Okie doke. We're going to come in here. Our next waypoint, I'll get it all written down for myself here, is a Sierra Romeo November. Enter. That looks good to me. And then our next one, I have to go dial this in, is a DOSA, ADOSA. Very interesting approach, by the way, to get down on the ground, which I found out, not the hard way, but the terrifying way. So go ahead and get that done. And flight plan, let's just do a little idiot check to make sure this makes sense. All right, zoom out a little bit. Love these 1980s avionics here. We're going to take off here. We're going to go down here, over to Adoza. Ooh.
Geneva traffic, Speedbird 726, 10 mile final, ILS 22, Geneva.
All right, Geneva. All right, we'll let him come down. We're going to be out of his way. And they are taking 2-2 today, which is what I expected. All right, I don't need any of this stuff. I appreciate it. I just don't need all of it. All right, let's take a look. LSGG, SRN, Adoza, LPB. Fantastic. Everything looks good here. Back to my index, present position. We'll get everything all kind of booted up and warmed up as we go in here. Nice. Our flight today will be taking us up to 25,000 feet. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of take us up that high. Originally, when I was planning this, it was a little bit lower, but like I said, the winds are just slightly more favorable at that altitude. So we're definitely going to take advantage of that when we get to that particular point. All right, that is all set. Let's go take a look at our communications radio. We're on 122.8. Let's go take a listen. I've got my diagrams right here. Geneva ATIS is 13557, 11870.
Geneva traffic, runway 22 is now vacated.
122.8. Okay, I'm just confirming it is still 122.8. In the United States, they've actually gone to CTAF for VATSIM, but for us over in Europe, it's still going to be that 122.8. Good. Makes my life a lot simpler. All right, that's all set, that's all set, that's all set. We'll pop that over to the auto position. Go ahead and do some fuel management stuff real quick. We need a little more fuel now because, unfortunately, 1303 is 2,600 pounds. And over here, 2,600 pounds. Nice, and that's going to be all preset and ready to go. That's set, that's set. Looks good to me, looks good to me. Right above my heads, I do all my checks here. It looks good. Lights master's fine.
Geneva traffic, Speedbird 7265 miles for 22 Geneva.
All right, not bad, not bad. All right, we are good to go. I think we are just a couple minutes early, which is perfectly fine. Good time to kind of do those last minute checks to make sure everything is all set here. All right, check, check, chickadee check, chickadee check. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Ground communications looks good, 122.8. That volume was pretty good coming through the headphones, so I didn't have to worry about that too much. All right, looking pretty darn good, looking pretty darn good. All right, so theoretically in a few moments here, somebody's going to be coming in, and we're just kind of watch. Hey, the codifier, welcome back, my friend. Are you just, I didn't realize you could just walk around outside. That is so darn cool. All right, let's do a quick idiot check here. Like I said, we are in VATSIM today, and I want to be prepared so I don't get surprised. Let's see here. LIPB is 134750. 134750. 134750. It's going to be on preset 1 here. We're going to need this when we get a little bit closer to northern Italy there. Be curious to see what they're actually going to ask us to do when we get there, but if you've ever flown with me when we've been in Europe on VATSIM, you know, so no matter what I will do, I will embarrass myself to death, which is, part of the fun, I guess. All right, we also want nav, and we need to make sure the navigation source is default, which is good. Should be FMS1. To me, nav source, you can set it again. We'll go radar control, just make sure that's working. We will need radar today because, unfortunately, one of the downsides is flying in this region. The mountains are very tall. All right, radar is good. Standby on the radar. Gain is automatic. Fabulous. Okay, last set of idiot checks. Check, check, check. Chickadee check. Check, check, check. I can hit this one. We're not using this one today, but that's okay. All right, fabulous. Everything's looking good here. I'll switch this to ARC mode so we get a better view of what we're doing. And like I said, we're going to have to deal with air traffic control when we get a little bit closer. ARC mode looks good. ARC mode, one more. I'll do radar display too. My radar's into standby, but that's okay. All right, we are awesome. We're ready to proceed. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Just take a look. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Nice. Keep that front wheel off the ground. Nicely done. Nicely done. I like it. This is one of the cool advantages of, like I said, flying here like this. All right. Let's see if there's anybody in the chat. Nobody said hi yet. That's perfectly fine. I think we're pretty much ready to go. I'm looking at the clock here. Clock time. Just take a quick little look. One last reset of all my buttons. Like I said, we just want to check everything real fast. Like I said, I don't want to miss anything really obvious here. Set, set, set. Okay, it is time. It is 11:02. I chop half the people apart. Stop right here before crossing the line. All right. Now let's see here if my audio transmitter's working. Check one last time. Geneva traffic. Great. Open image.
Bird 726, clear of runway 22 Geneva.
Geneva traffic. Starship. Red 64, taxiing by Alpha to 22 Geneva. All right. Let's do it. Here's the joke. Do you think it's any cooler inside this airplane? I bet you it isn't. All right. Let's head over to the runway. I see Simon. Aircraft absolutely wants to go places. All right, let's see if anybody's coming in. Okie dokie. Just take a look at the chart here. You can see I've got all kind of my cheat sheet across the top there, making sure I'm not missing anything too serious here. All right, so let's right down here. LSGG, there's one departure. That's us. Air traffic control. That's us. Oh, we have a few people here today. Nice. All right, looks good to me. Looks good to me. It seems like nobody's on approach. Geneva traffic. Starship Red 64 taking off runway 22 Geneva east departure. All right, let's do it. And technically, I didn't need to say Starship, but if somebody sees a Starship go by, they're going to know it's me. You all ready? Okay. One last check. Crack the back, check the knuckles, check the lights, check the thing, check. Make sure air traffic control is working. Air traffic control should be working. Sometimes have an issue with this aircraft on it. Air traffic control is on. Let's do it. Here we go. Airspeed alive. Rotate. Hey, Simon. Wow, look at the haze. Have you ever seen such heat in Europe? That's incredible. Traffic. Starship Red 64 departing on runway 22. Departure. Alrighty, on the way. Off we go. Just kind of concentrating at the moment. Patience. correct something before somebody screams at me. Usually what they do on VATSIM is they'll actually jump in real quickly and they'll tell you, use this as your transponder code, kind of a thing like that. But I did not see that yet. Got it. All fixed. There, now y'all can relax. All right, we'll go ahead and take care of anti-ice. We don't need it anymore. I see no clouds that we're going to smack into. Got to be careful when you pop off the anti-ice on this thing, though, because it really makes everything spike. There we go. All right, our RPM is in the good. Green, 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 green. We're in the blue. We're in the continuous range. And I love how the right engine doesn't quite work as well as the left engine, which is stupid authentic. And we are on our way. This is awesome. All right, radar control. Take ground map, even though we're not going to see my... Oh, my goodness. We actually have things to see. Yikes. It gives you an idea of how tall the mountains are in this region. It is incredible. Incredible. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, let's see what people are saying here. Simon says, using Microsoft Limited Autopilot doesn't work, so I might not be saying much, but hi all. Right, I can't see anyone. My computer is going to be upgraded next week, so hopefully to work. I'll follow along. All right, gotcha. Gotcha. Good to see you again, Simon. Long time. I'm visiting the UK in the beginning of August, which is going to be really exciting. Finally get to visit. It's been many years since I've traveled abroad, so it's kind of cool. I had to go get the passport and everything like that. There's a new kind of like temporary like visa application you have to get when you're visiting the UK now, which I found very, very interesting. Something I did not know about, so I do know about it now, which makes me feel a little bit better. All right, you can see my ugly little turn here. Go pop that one up real fast. There we are. You can see coming up like that. Oh, and that is awesome. And it's just going to kind of head this way. Like I said, the only trouble we have to watch out for is when we get a little bit closer. Although I just noticed this fellow seemed to have dropped back out. Keeping an eye out for the controllers, because you would never want to fly into a controlled airspace without asking them first. It's just bad form. And again, it's especially when it's avoidable kind of a thing like that. But it's amazing to see how many people are flying today. All right, let's see if this aircraft cooled off, by the way. That is something I'm very curious about. All right, we got it down to 75 in here, but it's 113 in the nose and 84 up in our little kind of background compartment here, which is quite a bit. All right, idiot checks. 30. Oh, nope, that was wrong. That was wrong. Nope, you're good. We're good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So weather's good. Altitude's good. This is going to beep at us in about a minute and a half. This is good. This is good. Good. Engine power can come up a tiny bit. Our ITT is starting to get away from us. Just like that. Good, good, good. I love the fact these engines aren't the same. It's so realistic. It hurts me. All right, pop this off. We don't need it. Pop that on real quick. Let's make sure fuel is flowing evenly. Check. There should be nothing in the back tanks. There's nothing in the back tanks. Check. Good. Run through the battery amps. Should be 0. It's okay. So we're about 28.6. Okay. Okay. So the brake generators. The center bus is 28. Triple feed is 27.8. That checks. Did I mention in a minute and a half the thing would beep? You know, I love the frame generation for performance purposes, and I have a 4090 in case anybody's asking. But this makes me crazy that like the blur you get with text, because it just doesn't understand what the next line of text is going to be. It makes me crazy. All right, check. Let's see how everybody else is doing today. Good morning. How many passengers on that thing, please? Thanks. Oh, US APR. Man, has it been a long time. Passengers, sure. What I can do is I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am carrying, let me go and sim brief. I believe I'm doing 6 today as well. Let me grab that for you so everybody can take a peek. Let's see here. Yeah, I have a 6. 6 is the answer there, US APR. we are on our way. So the interesting thing with this craft, and I'll kind of comment on it once we level up and start picking up a bit of speed here. Very 1980s, and 1980s in the best possible way, not in a bad way. Like this feels like it could be a 757 or something like that. So it's just kind of one of those details. Pop that back there like that, and I got to keep a very close eye on the air traffic controllers. You can see here we're about to top out ITT. Pull the throttle back a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and pop this off. Doesn't need to be on anymore. It's plenty cold enough outside. Actually, speaking of which, it's minus 12, so there is some cool air out there somewhere. Outside is minus 17. Just looking, running around. That's good. That's good. That's good. Click, click. One thing I do want to check. That's running fine. Anti-ice is off, and there are no clouds. Okay, we are good. Like I said, there's a little more work than this. Okay, anyway, so welcome back, everybody. It's been a little while since we've had the opportunity to do a live stream. Like I said, this is wild. I picked this area because it just seemed like kind of a fun sort of view. Unfortunately, some of the clouds is going to get to us today. But we're going to be passing things like the Matterhorn, for example. I've never actually been to like Switzerland or anything along those lines. My dad's spent a bunch of time for like skiing and stuff like that. You know, retirement. But the interesting thing here is when I think the Matterhorn, of course, which again, don't ask me exactly where it is. It's basically, I always think Disneyland because they've got that ride, but I've never actually been to Disneyland either. So it's, you know, kind of one of those double whammies. There we go. I knew it would catch up to us eventually. There's 24. The top speed in this aircraft is basically 320 knots. You can get that at about 23,000 feet. We're going a little extra high today because there is a little bit of extra tailwind, which is going to help give us a push. The flight today, like I said, we're looking at about like 51 minutes or something flight time. It's not bad at all. The big thing that makes this flight really interesting is the final approach for landing. It's a beautiful valley where basically, I wish I had something like, I wish I had a little marker I could draw for you. But if you want to imagine, you know, something like this is flat and these are the mountains on either side. So if somehow I could put my head on the other side of this is the shape of the thing we're going to be landing in. And these mountains are amazingly high. All right, we're leveling off. The Starship folks, apparently Black Square, I should say. They're still working on some of the autopilot kinks here, but that's working fine. Let's just make sure we're pressurizing properly. Pressurization, we're showing tap, tap. I love how you can tap the glasses here. It's about 7,500 feet. I ordered, oh, that's a problem. No, that's right. I'm blind. Let's see here. So we're looking at a cabin altitude of about 3,000 feet. I ordered up 3,000 feet. Pressure differential is about 4. Man, can this plane get pushed up full of air. That's awesome. Cabin temperatures finally got reasonable here. I'm going to go ahead and close it off. Fine. I am plenty cold enough. We can even turn it down a little bit, kind of a thing. All right, SRN is 100.7 nautical miles away. That's, let's see here, 21 minutes. Hey, look at that, 51 minutes. My estimate was actually really good today. Nice. So anyway, like I said, the Beechcraft Starship has been an absolute blast. We've seen quite a bit of this aircraft, like I said, on this channel. I'm transitioning over to VATSIM. Shouldn't surprise you, especially because, like I said, we're flying with that today. One of the nice things about this airplane, other than the fact that it is pure 1980s avionics, which is like awesome, is the fact that it has a super unique navigational system called VLF, aka Omega. For those of you who've never seen that system before, I will say it is the first time I've ever personally encountered it in a simulated airplane. I've never seen Omega or VLF before. The simple concept of it is basically you have radio towers, and you simply measure the phase between the two radio towers, and you can essentially identify where you are. The crazy thing is you don't have to do any of that. In this aircraft, you literally can just come down here. You've got all your different options. You can go to your sensors, you can go to your long-range navigation, and it'll kind of give you a breakdown like that. And, you know, if I were to come down here, you can even select see what the different signal strengths are. And you can see Great Britain is where we're getting most of our strength here. And if we went to go to the Omega stations, you can see we're also getting a good, strong signal from Norway as well. And it's incredible that it uses those two signals to be able to identify where we are pretty accurately. So if I were to go to FMS position real quickly, just as an example, you can see here that my GPS confidence is 0.04. My Omega confidence is 0.1. So that's 10% of a nautical mile. That's fabulous. That's 176 meters-ish, something like that. So that's That is darn impressive. Really, really darn impressive. But it does remind me to do something, which I haven't come over here and done yet. And that's actually activating the other system that this thing has on board, which is the ability to automatically tune VOR stations. And what it actually does is it will triangulate your position in VOR basically automatically. And again, it's just one of those kind of neat little tricks that this thing can do. So right now it has no VOR position because we don't have a VOR station that it can use. But I can literally update my position from a radial and a distance, which is just... It's so cool. Like, it's like old-fashioned navigation, but the computer does it for you. Now, another thing, I got an absolute giggle out of with this airplane. And again, if you saw my original view on this one kind of thing, you definitely have seen this particular piece. But if you come down here, this aircraft has a high-frequency radio. And the crazy thing about the high-frequency radio here is this is like an actual working high-frequency radio. Like, it actually will go through, like, the different components. You can set the unique channels on it. It has, like, the different modes on it. You know, I can go to load mode. I can come over here if I want to do it at channel 27. It's just crazy. Like, you can come over here, for example. I'll grab the switch back over here. There we go, UV. You know, I can come here. I can change what mode I'm on, all the different things. I can see load. I can save. I can continuous wave, AM, FM. It's all on here. And like I said, it's just... It's cool. It's really, really cool because very rarely do we get this. And again, you can change the channel directly, or you can pop over here and you can actually manually dial it in if you need to and stuff like that. But it's just something I never expected to see that actually kind of works. And what's really scary is if you actually bring this sucker open, you'll notice we have the group chat, by the way, so I can say group. But one of the things they'll do eventually maybe is even come up here and pop an HF slot, which would be really cool, especially if they couple that with like UHF and stuff like that. It's just neat because like that technology is not we don't see that very often, to say the least. But one of the things I would like to do now that I'm kind of scooting at high speed here is I do want to see if I can capture that properly. Let's see here, 113.7. See if we can get that to work. All right, 11370. And we're gonna pop that into here real quick. And is it gonna get us anything? 11370. Yes, it did. SRN right there. SCS is we got 2. Nice. I'll put that back onto automatic mode. Let's see if it's able to identify our position just from VOR here. I don't know, I find things like this cool. Hey, look at that. VOR2 is it's more confident in our position than the GPS is confident in our current position. You could see that the other VR, the one I manually dialed in, it's got about a 2-mile confidence in it, which is, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. All right, let's take a look around. So when it comes to Switzerland, a couple different ideas that comes to mind. So the first thing is I got to turn my volume down because I'm getting deaf here. But the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Switzerland, of course, is these absolutely beautiful, beautiful mountains. You know, the Alps are just, it's incredible. You know, you see photographs of the Alps and things like that, and it's just like, it melts your brain, but then like having actually seen the opportunity, like, you know, flying around in VR, this is incredible to see, but I just never been there in person, so I don't get the benefit of being like, you know, just walking along this lake bank, basically, just looking up and just like these massive mega mountains basically sitting here. I remember I was talking to basically a geologist once, and they were discussing the mass of the Alps, which I know sounds like a really exciting topic to talk to a geologist about. But they were basically pointing out the fact that, you know, it's like if you put a heavy enough weight on your bed, it kind of makes everything sink. So it's like, you know, pushing down in this part. It's actually, this shrinks and all the rest of the land, like in Italy and stuff, actually gets spread out. It was just one of those where I'm like, sure, that's how that works, kind of a thing like that. But it's just, I don't know, I find that just incredible to even think about things in terms of that. Then, of course, I was asking him about, like, the Himalayas. And he's like, no, the Himalayas, same kind of thing, and the Rocky Mountains, too. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I never think of things in that scale, if that makes sense. So, which I think is just that much cooler about it. And the other thing, of course, I think about the Alps and things like that is I have visited Italy. Italy's an incredible country. We've done live streams in Italy before. Basically this way, if you want to think about it another way, you know, one of the wild things about Italy is just the difference in terrain. You know, where I was down in, you know, Positano and like Amalfi, and you had like Naples and stuff like that, you get definitely a different vibe than you get from kind of northern Italy, where you have like your Milans and stuff like that. And of course, where we're flying in today too, where it's, I call it almost like the mountainous side of Italy. I'll go ahead and fix my altimeter too while I'm at it. I don't know why those two didn't link, but like I'm not going to complain about it at all. And it's just one of those most fascinating concepts that you have so much variety in one big country. I just love that. Another cool thing with this plane, you want to see something wild? If you didn't see my other video on this, look at this. Best aircraft the company ever built, Burt Rutan. And one of the things I think is kind of fun too. I'll go ahead and close the doors up. It's the nice thing about automatic pilot. I can just sort of walk around while I'm flying here. But if you actually come down here, there's a whole plaque dedicated to him. And there he is, Burt Rutan. I never met the guy in person. Like I said, very, very creative. His favorite thing in the universe are these guys. Arts, and of course it's just so fascinating, and I love the fact that they got that little dedication kind of built into it. Oh, I did not check to see if this is up to date. This is the U.S. Department of Aviation. We're busted. I love the fact that they put the July 21st in here, and the expiration is July 31st. This is completely accurate, which I just kind of get a kick out of that. Aviation, Florida, United States. I love that. November 2000A. Fortunately, I would grab something. I'm afraid to grab something because I probably pulled a wire out of the back of the computer or something like that. So you wouldn't want to do that. Other really crazy, wild things with this aircraft is these avionics. I have no idea what they were thinking. Basically, we said, hey, you know what's cool? The 757. You know what else is cool? A business jet. Let's put propellers on it. What? And you end up with this kind of combination. These avionics are fabulous. Like, even though we're talking 1983 vintage, they're so easy to use. Like, I'd almost argue that this avionics package is easier to use than, like, a 737. Well, obviously better easier than a 737, but it's like, even easier in some ways, like GPSs, the way everything gets separated, and there's like reversion and stuff. But for those who have not had a chance to see that other video, look at this. Just in case, we got a little floppy diskette here, and we can't read off of that, so it's actually kind of wild. Apparently later on, what they're supposed to do is make sure you can get other files. So one of the things they actually give you here is if you sneak over here, this is where it's stored. I gotta remember, there it is right there. They actually give you a bonus disk to see if you're paying attention here. All right, click. And we're gonna use the right side for that purpose. Let's index, FS data. Oops, wrong one. Index, why am I being blind here? It is right there. Read file from diskette. You can actually hear it making noises. Nice. All right, what do we have here? So it gives you some like number stations and digital signals. Like you could open this file up and actually like read them all right off the disk itself. I don't know. There's just something so brute force and manual about that. It's fantastic. All right, go ahead and put that away. That's fun. I don't know, play adventure on here or something like that. Go index, and you can pop the disk out when you're done fiddling with it. That's how you update your navigation data and stuff. Like I said, just so cool. Just so cool. All right, that's all set. We're going to go take a look at how we're doing on VATSIM real quick, because I'm still worried about the fact that somebody's going to pop up there. We do not want to be that guy who basically cruises right through somebody without talking to them. That's real annoying. All right, let's take a look. Oh, we have guests. We'll take a look at Mara 1 in a second. All right. You're probably chilling. I just have to find us again. EDDS. Looks good. There we are. That's us. All right. Just kind of cruise. Actually, there's a lot of people coming up here. So this Mike Echo Alpha 211, which is right there. It's a Mars 1. Let's see, that's about 60 miles away from us, 40,000 feet. Is that they? Let's see here. Oh my gosh, what a flight. Yeah, that's them. My goodness. My goodness. Congratulations. That is one heck of a long, long flight. Look at this. Man, that's crazy. Crazy. All right, I think we'll be safe, though. Excellent. All right, so other things that are news. Finally got to go flying again in the real world. It's been a very, very long time since I got to fly an actual plane, kind of a thing like that. Piper Archer 3, great little aeroplane. I think it was pretty funny because, if you go out of currency, you have to do 3 takeoffs and landings before you can carry passengers again. So as always, it's been a little while since I got to fly. So, pile on the plane, get everything started, and take off, no problem. Do the traffic pattern, like you're all super proud of yourself because you keep it right at 1,000 feet, because where we are, 2018 for the field elevation. Everything's looking perfect, coming for that first landing after you haven't landed in a few months. You're coming downwind, you pull to the base, you start reducing power, you pull the flaps, you get your trim, everything's looking good. Look down at your airspeed indicator. So a single passenger Piper Archer 3 with half fuel tanks, that's a lightweight airplane. Your stall speed is like 45, but of course you're using the numbers, so you're coming in at 70 knots. They're coming at 70 knots, take the right, you're doing closer to 75, you take the last right. Where I land in Hartford, it's not a 3-degree glide slope, it's closer to 4. 3.5, I think, not 4. So it's much steeper, and you think that doesn't matter until you realize it's the only airport runway that I ever use that's that steep. So, you're coming in, doing 80 a little fast. You finally get over the thing, you pull the throttle back, you're terrified this plane will stall, you do your little flare, and the plane just goes like this. In flight sim, when you go too fast on the landing, like, this is my runway, my mouse is me. Just kind of does this. Eventually you settle down, you go, oh, sorry, wheels. Then you give it full power, go around. Go around again, second landing again. Okay, that was a little rough. I got to come in a little slower, a little slower, a little slower. Request touch and go. He's like, full stop. There's a helicopter crossing the runway. Okay, that makes it fun. It's been a little while, but I'll do what they ask because I said to a full stop, runway 2. Coming for my landing, a little fast again, over the grounds, and the plane just hovers. But this time, I managed to get on the back tires first, right as the wind shear starts. So the plane comes down like this, settles. The wind goes, hey, back on the ground, very gently, very gently. Plane's going with the rudder, trying to keep it in control. Full stop, no problem. Like, sorry, front wheel. I felt really bad for the front wheel after that. Of course, take off again. Time for the third landing. So come in. This is last Sunday, by the way. So coming in. My speed's perfect. It's like 68, like perfect speed. Everything's good. Coming in. That wind shear starts again. And it's doing one of those where now I'm getting a tailwind. Now I get a headwind. Now I get a tailwind. Now I get a headwind. Now it's from the side. And the nose is going like this. And my airspeed is perfect. And the stall warning goes, meep, 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 because it bounces because of, like, the turbulence hitting you. You don't get that a lot of times in sims. Bouncing around. Get over the ground, kill the power, doing the hover thing, settle down. Oh, God, we're going to get it. Whoa. Again, this is the runway. My mouse is the runway here. Doing one of those. Finally, skirt. No problem. Oh, that wasn't so bad. So then I go pick up my passenger, and my wife jokingly said, hey, you made a whale, because if you look on Flight Aware, you can actually see the flight route I took and everything like that. It's always funny. You can always see exactly what to do in the real world. Oh, Codifier. Great to see you again. Long time, my friend. I'm sorry it has been so long. Working 3 jobs sucks. So, of course, coming in for landing. Now, I'll take her for a ride. Like I said, 45 minutes. I have a very beautiful, wonderful co-pilot. That's my wife. This is great. Absolutely fantastic. Does not like to listen to me talk about planes all the time, but that's just what pilots do. Sorry. And one of the things is we go do our whale around Connecticut because it's the general shape that it kind of took when we did it. And when we did come back, coming in for a landing, I'm setting up, looking at my speed. I'm like 73, so I'm a little fast. I've got a passenger now. I'm a lot heavier than I was before, kind of a thing, because now I've got the bag in the back and everything else. Coming in for my landing, kill the power. I'm like, I got this. Start to do my flare, and the plane lands. Like, it was all this motion, like just a curve. There was no like hesitation. Like, when it floats a little bit, zero float. It basically flared land. There was no maybe 5 seconds between the flare and the actual landing. I thought I'd broken something because I'd come down, but it was really smooth because the front wheel hadn't even touched the ground yet. So then I let the wheel come down. I'm like, I'm going to just say that was intentional because that was really good and really smooth and easy on the wheels. But like, it didn't feel like it, like, especially because we floated the first 2 times. So again, it's the fun. And then, of course, this week, not only have I been filming with this plane, which, by the way, this thing is a bus. This is not like a Baron 58. This is not the Beech 2. This thing is a bus. And it really, really feels like a bus. When we go to land this thing on final, trying to keep its speed under control is going to be such a pain in the butt. But this is a bus. It is not a PC-12. It is a bus. But one of the things, of course, coming from that is we had the Aerostar 600 released this week. When the Aerostar came out, I grabbed it. Fabulous. I absolutely love it. Our next live stream will definitely be the Aerostar. It is the first time I think I've flown an airplane in recent memory that actually I feel like I have to treat perfectly. Like, I have to actually pretend I'm a real pilot. I often in the flight sim, and I've been accused of this, and I'm guilty of it. I was, being a little bit too gentle and a little not precise and procedural and everything like that. You're not really taking my time, checking for every little thing. But with that plane, I feel like I have to. It's just, there's so many things you have to get right on that plane to make sure that it's a safe flight and your engines don't wear out. And I wish all airplanes in flight sim were like that. Obviously, make it an option that you can turn on and off. We don't necessarily always want that. But it's just fighting with the starter to get it going, overheating it on a touch and go, like all those things are just, it's so authentic. I absolutely love that. I think we're about Milan right now. So I'm going to have to go take a look. Oh, hey, Codifier. I can't zoom in hard enough to see what you're flying. Anybody else think it's funny that there's flying the backseat here? You gotta see this. Gotta watch the action here. Nicely done, Codifier. Nicely done. Very smooth. One thing I could never ever do well is formation flying. Like, I can refuel, I can land on a carrier, all that stuff is fun, but definitely cannot, absolutely cannot Formation fly, just not good at it. All right, just confirming my flights. I'm just taking a peek. We're going to be coming up on our first turn in a second. Actually, got to get back in the front seat and start paying attention to what I'm doing here. All right, here we go. So let's go get everything ready. There we go. Sierra Romeo November. We'll be there in less than a minute. We should have 21, 22 pounds on board. We can cross-reference that real quick. Ugh, not quite. Not quite. So I must have entered the number value wrong. All right, so our problem here is we're going to have to descend at some point. You know, we've got a pretty good amount of time to go before descent here. I can see very, very clearly that about 1548 is going to be our position where we get to Mendoza. We absolutely have to start coming down before that point. So we're dealing with a turboprop here, so we always double the altitude in basically the first two. So we're at 25,000 feet. If we wanted to start descent would start at 50,000, or that'd be funny, 50 nautical miles out. So basically what's going to happen is, and you'll see me mess this up, is I will accidentally descend when this is 50 miles, not when this is 50 miles. And again, we'll come down at about 60. One of the problems we're going to face, and again, we might as well talk a little bit of theory, because again, autopilot's doing all my real work right now. One of the problems we're going to face, SRN, Adosa, I think was the one I did. Yeah, there it is. If you take a look here, there's this really, really, really long valley. And that's one of the reasons I love this airport. And again, when you folks later on, if you're saying, hey, this was cool, I want to go play with that airport you did, check it out. But what happens here is these mountains here are massive. We have a 9,200 limit here. So if we come down to, say, 10,000 feet, and that's fine. We can definitely step down to that altitude. And you can see if we come down to 10,000, we're just barely above Lime here. So that makes it a little bit safer for us. And if we came down here and kind of took that left turn, and we kind of come down this valley, this is where this gets tough. Because the actual approach to landing here, and again, this is going to blow you away when you see it. You basically start where my mouse is. Like if I just wanted to drag this real quickly, go ahead and pop that in there real quick. Go ahead and pop that like that. And again, I'm basically drawing out the approach, even though it's not the exact approach. It's okay. And it's like that. Bolzano. Oh, looks good to me. There we go. So the approach kind of goes like this down this valley, and like each one of these step climbs is just a little bit lower, but you will basically be co-altitude. And if I zoom in hard enough, let me see if we can get the altitude, 3,000. Yeah, so it's like 5,600 feet, I think, is the limit here for the VOR. It's a localizer approach for us. But just to give you an idea of just how tall this is. So anyway, we can't come down lower than 10,000 feet when we hit this point here. So if we wanted to be even more clever, what we would do is we do 30 miles to let's go with the name of it. 30 miles from Adosa, start coming down. Again, if air traffic control gets us, they'll get us. The other thing we could do too, which would be stupid, would be to actually come down this lake here and basically go through this and then come around and try to intercept it that way. Both of those are fine. The advantage to this one, of course, is if something goes wrong, I have an airport right there. If something goes wrong this way, I have mountains. It doesn't work so well for me. So like I said, a couple different philosophies that we're going to have to do to kind of get through this part. But when it says 30 miles to go, which will be, let's just estimate right here, at about 30. Oh, I was off by 3. How's that for estimation? There we go. When we hit this point right here, which is just north of Brishka, probably Beccia, I would expect, we'll start coming down. And that's right past, like I said, we got to go by Bergamo. That's going to be Milano. All right, nice. We've got work to do. Let's do it. All right, good time to go through all of our systems. We've gotten to colder air, so I can see that my temperatures have come down a little tiny bit, which is totally fine. Increase power just a tiny bit here. Again, ITT limited, which is fine. And what do we have? 12 minutes to get to Adosa. We need to start coming down. Remember, when this is 30, we need to start descending. That's going to be 6 minutes from now. Wow, we're moving. All right, let's go check everything else. Make sure everything else is doing okay. All right, make sure we have picked up anyway. The codifier, you're absolutely crushing it today. I would say, hey, codifier, what aircraft is that? Because I do not know all. Just and then it was actually kind of surprised that we don't see any more traffic on Betz in here. But I guess we picked a good part of Europe to do this, so I'm not too worried about it on that. All right. Start getting plans. Start planning. Now in the real world, I have my little 4 flights on my miniature iPad. My wife would be holding that. She'd be sitting here. Again, I would be flying a plane like this with that kind of a situation. Yeah, what am I saying? Yeah, I would. And she'd start reading off the different components as we started to kind of get ready here. All right, 68. Fantastic. Oh, thank you, the codifier. It is a longitude. Okay. I'll be honest with you. The Cessna jets all blur together. Like the CJ4 and the longitude and the, oh my gosh, what's the big one? Citation? Probably citation longitude. It just kind of all blurs together to me. But that is pretty crazy to think that you could probably laugh. Oh, that's right there. Cessna citation longitude. You could easily laugh me, and again, because of the jet there. Other fun things about this airplane, if you really want to buy yourself a turboprop, that fits a couple people, they have this thing called a PC-12. It's pretty good. This thing's fun, but it's so limited, and it needs so much runway to get in the air. So that's definitely some downside here. All right, while we're getting ready here, and we're going to be on the ground in 20 minutes. Let's see, FMS, crew notes. I love this. This is so cool. I love this. This is so cool. But one of the things I like, you can press any of the line keys. There's a save airspeeds button here, so I can see here. This is kind of all the different components I would need. And I love how it turns green. There we go, rotation 108. And we're approaching about 112 today is going to be our speed. Approach VREF is 121. I'm not going to lie with you. If you come in at 121, you're going to use 4,000 feet more runway than you need. I wonder if there's like a bug or something going on with flight sim and ground effect, but it's just been bad lately. All right, plan. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Where's the position map? Display. I just want to confirm that everything's okay here. Radar's on. There's a DOSA. Remember, a DOSA, it's that 30 miles. It's this point right here, right above LIPO, that we're going to start coming back down, and we're going to get ready for that approach. We could actually put the approach in, but we're going to do it as a visual approach, unless, like I said, air traffic control sneaks in and tells us to do something else. What do we got here? It looks good here. VLF status. Looks good to me. Last position summary. Looks good to me. Let's see, performance. How we doing? 10. The ETA is a 1540. Thought I heard something rumbled outside, and I thought I was losing an engine. All right, heading's good. Ground speed. We're actually getting a 338, which is fabulous. All right, plan progress. I'll leave that one open there. One of the things we can do is we can come over here. We can shut that off. Let's move back to HSI mode. There we go. We can kind of shut that off and just go to a more conventional mode and kind of have it that way. Like I said, it's up to you. This one has the added bonus that you can turn the radar on, which is kind of nice. I love the fact that it's either. So like if we go to do an approach or something like that, we can do it that way. All right, fabulous. So other things that have been going on, like I said, it's been a while since we've done one of these live streams. Flight Sim 2024 continues to go through its beta phase. I think that is absolutely 100% what I will call it. It's gotten better. And VR, there's this new really, really obnoxious bug where when you're about 6 inches off the ground, the lag is awful. It's like a slideshow, and it's awful. Awful. It makes it very hard to land. Speaking of VR, this aircraft in VR, you don't realize how big this plane is until you try it in VR. Like if you look here, like not that I can stand all the way up, but I could probably get to about here, even a little bit higher in this plane without having to kind of crouch down or anything like that. It's crazy just how big it is in that sort of sense. Ooh, I did not notice this before. Oh, is there a way to get in here? Oh, I want in. I want into this closet. It won't let me do anything. This little closet. Oh. Sorry, I just discovered something. I'm curious. What does this say? Track chairs away from cabinet to remove ice chest. Ice chest? How nice is this thing? Oh, there's a bathroom. The loo, I should use the term for. I did not know that. See, you learn something every day. That's why you should always keep positive with education here. All right, let's start thinking about getting down. We got 50 nautical miles to go. This one has an automatic descent on it, which is fabulous. I wish all propellery jobs like this, kind of that tool, it's just so easy to use. All right, that looks good. Let's go confirm things are going okay over in the land that is VATSIM. We're still on VATSIM today. Look. Yeah, we're doing fine. There's a 72 hour flight. Put a fire, you're killing it. Normally I like to hand fly and like goof around with this thing, but I refuse because people are watching. Nope, we're good. Looks good. All right, unfortunately I just lost that page. Let me go ahead and hopefully things don't get all blurry for you when I do this. Sorry about that. All right, nothing bad should have happened. Okay. Let's go ahead and discuss our landing here. So conditions at LIPB are pretty good. Taking a look at the technical map right now. They are showing, let's see here. All right, LIPB Bolzano. Go ahead and pull it down so you all can take a look here. We're 140 at 6 knots. Okay, we're good. 140 at 6 knots, which would actually lend itself better to a crosswind, basically a right landing. I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that with this plane. 6 knots is not that bad. Again, anything less than 10 knots with a tailwind is not awful, especially because we have plenty of runway. But if it's... Oh, no. Yeah, that's going to be awful. So what we're going to have to do is this. Glad we checked. It's going to have to be something like this. Oh, that is awful. So what you don't realize is, see how there's this little like kind of mountain, like a butte here, or a plateau? This is really tall. So we're going to have to basically go along this way down through here. I'm not sure what they would normally do through this procedure. Like I said, if tower jumps on or something like that, that's going to make this much, much easier because they can basically tell us what they want us to do. But these mountains, oh, this is going to be so dangerous when we get there. Y'all ready for some fun? All right. Looks good, looks good. All right. Let's start getting ready. 33. Stand by. Here we go. No whammies, anybody. No whammies. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. The only thing we're worried about at this time is going to be very, very, very cautious with the approach. Because like I said, those mountains are very tall. All right. 33, 29, 31. Let's do it. Whee! Start floating out of my seat. Going down the codifier. This is nice. So one of the things I would do too is, again, the chat is very quiet today, but that's fine. Probably didn't expect the thing to come out today. I was asking things, what they'd like to see. I've got a lot of stuff for VATSIM probably coming out in the next month or so you're going to see quite a bit of that. But other things, like I said, even other games. I've enjoyed the heck out of Flight Sim, but I wouldn't mind expanding the channel into other things that interest me. Archean's been fun, but that's a very, 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 very small community. Programming's always fun, but there's plenty of stuff out there for it already. So it's like, what are you going to add to it, kind of a thing like that. But those are all really, really cool. All right, we need to get ourselves... we're going to do some radar stuff here. We're going to shut off the automatic mode. Off. We're going to go back to this page. Ground mapping is going to get turned on. We're going to set the tilt to -1 degrees. -1 is basically going to tip it down just a little bit below the nose, and that's going to be basically optimum. We can even go down to like -3. That works really, really well for us too. But that's okay. All right, 23 nautical miles. We got 3 minutes to go, and then it's about 12 minutes to get to the ground. We're doing great. Man, this thing's fast. I've been very spoiled with the Aerostar the last few days. Man, that thing's fun. This is great. Like I said, I wouldn't trade this thing. Now, if you ask me the hardest question in the world, which would be, would you like this plane better than the Beechcraft Duke? I hate to be that guy, but I think I still like the Duke over this plane. This is a fabulous aircraft, but the Duke is just so brute force in all the best, greatest ways. Even like the one with the big engines, it's fabulous. I love the fact my flaps, like when the flaps go down, the canard goes forward. Very awkward angle too. All right, keep an eye on things. 17 to go. We are not descending fast enough. Bring my power down to about 5. There we go. Coming down just a little bit. 1600. I love how you're not supposed to touch the RPM control until you're basically ready to land. That's just kind of neat. All right, this is good to go. True airspeed, ground speed, that looks good to me. That is all solid. Adosa's coming up. We'll be on Adosa in 2 minutes. Oh boy. Hey, there's those mountains. Look at the size of those mountains. My gosh, look at that. Man, I do not live in a place that looks like that. All right, I need to figure out how to pronounce the name of the airport. Okay, how do you pronounce this? This is Bolzano. All right, Bolzano. Unfortunately, we have no Italians who can help me here to let me know what the correct pronunciation of that would be. So we're just going to have to work with it. Oh, can I see the airport from here? No, I don't think so. Basically, it's going to be in one of those valleys. No, I don't think I can quite make it out there, but that's okay. bit more descent here. All right, adjust my atmospheric pressure. Looks good. Go and get some frequencies, see if there's anything going on. We're looking for... We have no frequencies. That's a problem. Man, this thing just drops out of the sky. Fire's back there somewhere. He's coming out of the clouds. Man, what a neat area. The little skirt was just a little V-pilot here. All right, believe it or not, we're getting ready for approach. All right, gentle left turn. Okie dokie. We can see we're already starting to spot the tops of mountains here. All right, take a look at our traffic monitor here. We get minimum of 9,300. Oh, I don't like the looks of that. Clouds plus mountains. Remember, if any of you see any goats in the clouds, just give me a quick little heads up there. There we go. We can see we have a major mountain right off my right there. Goodness, this is going to be dangerous. All right, there's the valley. See it? Yep, that's what we're looking for. I think this is visual. This could be real dangerous otherwise. All right, so here's how this goes. The mountains on the left side, my west side, are taller than the mountains on my east side. So as we come down here like this, we're a little bit safer on this side than we would be on the other side. But one of the things you will see as we come in here, that this poor radar is going to have a lot of work to do. All right, we are 45 miles to go still, but you can just see just how huge those mountains are. I'm actually going to level off at 10. 10's fine. There we go. Yes, I see it descending past 10. Okay, looks good. All right. Much safer. Sorry, I'm having to concentrate here. I'm doing a couple things at once. Bolzano is 787. It's 1,800 feet. So that's 1,600. That's Microsoft Flight Simulator. Right, let's do it. Yeah, see the guy on this side, how they're much taller than the ones on this side. And there's that valley I was telling you about. Good thing for radar. Whoa, this could be bad. I'll give it just a little more power. We don't have to descend quite that aggressively. Landing lights are on. All right, Bolzano traffic. 122.8. Check the frequencies. 2.8 is good. Take a peek. Set up here. Are you going there too? Nope. Good to go. Looks good. Procedure information. I hear a meter. 140 at 6. Ugh. That's going to be very challenging. We'll deal with it. Look at these mountains. It's incredible. This is only slightly nerve-wracking. What I'm doing is I'm giving it just a little bit more power to basically flatten out my descent. See, it's only like 300 feet per minute. Oh man, this is serious. That. Do I need an Italy expert when I do things like this. Right. So our airport we're trying to get to is on the other side of this. That is the other airport. Remember how I mentioned there's another one here? That's that one. So maybe what we want to do is we actually want to do a little bit of hands-on flying here. There we go. Probably a bit too much. Now we can reduce the power and start coming down a little more aggressively. Not that much. Overflying this airport. Let's just confirm the altitude on that airport. That altitude is 7,500. Yeah, we'd be in their airspace right now. We would have had to have called it. There should be another airplane above us. Can't see it, but it would be there. Right, there's 5,600 feet, and this is a pretty good angle right here. I'm just going to come to my left just a little more. Again, we have to kind of take a right turn, but we'll get set up for it. I think it's crazy. Basically, I have to go like that. Like, I can't get over this is flat. Like, in the Rocky Mountains, stuff is like this. Not boop, boop, boop. That's just, I don't know, it's different for me. My brains can't, I can't see if this is part of that mountain range or behind it. So I'm trying to move my head back and forth. Yeah, we're going to have to come this way. Got it. So basically, let me bring my range in a little bit here. Power. So we're just going to swing around that way. The actual instrument approach is a little different. Like I said, we're on VATSIM right now, but it totally depends on who's around. And unfortunately, like I said, there's nobody around. If there were, they could give us specific instructions here. So we're just going to kind of do it visual because it's visual. Cancel IFR is what we would say in the US. There's that mountain range right there. We can probably start coming to the north in a second. Kind of hanging to the right here. 5 degrees to the right. Imagine doing this in a propeller. Well, we are a propeller plane. A radial propeller plane. I'll be less specific here. There we go. Nice. This is going to be so cool. All right, let's discuss our landing for a second here. So what I'm doing right now is exactly what I showed you that I'm doing. Now we're basically going to chill with this river. You can see the river right down here. It's the wider of the two. There's going to be an east and a west river. We're following the east river. We're basically going to follow it up with the railroad tracks. So we got to go past this, right, and come in for a landing down at LIPB, which we'll make our call when we get a little bit closer. So in a few moments, we're going to have to take basically a hard right turn. Well, not a hard right, but we can actually start that turn right now. We're higher than the mountains near us. All right, let's take a look. There's the two rivers. There is the west river. There is the east river. And we're basically, like I said, hanging out here. Our destination should be right where my mouse is right now. This is such a neat region. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. Like I said, I just can't get over the fact this is flat. Like, I'm not okay with that. This is like Minecraft when, like, you just go, like, super flat in the areas between the mountains. There it is. Destination is right there. And you can see how there's this little smaller mountain here? That was that butte that I was telling you about. We're going to stay out of this valley until the last second. But if you actually take a look quickly here, you can see this canyon kind of wraps around this way. And then our airport, our destination is going to be right behind this right here. So that makes it a little bit easier for us. All right, radar, don't let me down. Now, keep in mind, if this were instrument conditions, we do this differently. But this works actually really well for us. Bolzano traffic, Starship Red 64 is 20 to the south, setting up for a right downwind, runway 14, Bolzano. All right, that's going to be us. It's going to be the weirdest downwind I've ever seen, but it is what it is. Speed is good, power is good. Look at this. Do people live up here? Goodness, they do. Look at this. Look at this. What if you have to go to the chemist and the chemist is down here? How do you do that? Again, I wish I had an expert on living in mountains like this. But man, how do you attack places like this? My goodness. Look at that. I just hate to be the guy who has to plow the road. Like, I assume they get snow here. All right. Mind controls. So what we're going to do now is, if you take a look right there, you can just almost see where the runway would be, but there's that, like I said, the butte in the way there. See the towers? The yellow and the white and red, I should say. It's right there. I've got my eyes on it. That's going to be kind of like a reference point. We need to get well past that, into that valley. All right, let's do it. I guess I can call right traffic. Like I said, we're on IFR theoretically right now, but we were never given any specifics, so we're making it work, as they say. Over in the United States, by the way, for those of you curious about VATSIM, over in the US, what they've done is gone to CTAF, so every single airport has its own like kind of local frequency, which is actually awesome. And I don't disagree with that at all. I think it's actually kind of nice. All right, we're gonna come down that valley. Let's go pull up just a little bit. You can see it's about there. I'm just going to adjust the angle of my radar. Ooh, that's not the angle of the radar. That is. I just want to get a good look at that little butte right there. There it is. The cool thing is if I push down, you can see it. See it? Isn't that so cool? So we're going to hang to the right there. Perfect. I don't like the idea of doing a right downwind for this airport through this valley, but we're going to make it work. In the real world, air traffic control would probably well, I guess we can't really do a circling approach. There's no room for it. Left a little bit. How you doing back there, Codifier? Oh, we lost them. Oh boy. I was gonna say I would hope to see the runway at some point. I know it's down there. Man, I'd love to get like a 787 into here or something like that. I can't see anymore. Square up a little bit. We're good. Bolzano traffic. Starship Red 64 right downwind for runway 14 Bolzano. There it is. And just like I promised, we are in right downwind. Crazy. I'm just going to jump in the other seat for a second here. Look at this. Like, you can't take a right traffic for the other runway. You'd smack into the mountain. You barely do any traffic, to be honest. Everything would be straight in. Watch the canard. Isn't that so silly? I don't know. I just love that. There we go. Right there. We got to come down a little bit. Bolzano traffic, red 64 is right base for 14 Bolzano. And there we have it. Nice. This is so cool. We're not doing like an ILS after this. Ugh. Earn it. Looks good to me. Bolzano traffic, red 64, final for run 4 Bolzano. Alright, landing lights on, gas, undercarriage, mixture, propeller, flaps, lights, speed. We're good. Make this guy kind of a right turn approach here. Like I said, there's a mountain. I don't want to get any closer to it than I have to. Speed is basically perfect. All right, folks, no whammies. too white, too red, right on speed. Spoke too soon. Alright, one last idiot check. Gas under carriage moves from flaps light speed. Make sure we're Giphy, so yaw damper should come off, but I can't reach down and hit it. It's gonna be a back taxi. Oh, 1.9 not 1.4. Ah! I read the sign wrong, couldn't see it on the JPEG. Did I mention that the 120 knots is way too high of an approach speed? Nice. We're here. There's the codifier. I like how you have to go to a little keyhole here. Bolzano traffic, red 6-4, back taxi 1.9R Bolzano. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I'm about to hit another airplane, but that's okay. Oh, excuse me. He's not actually on VATSIP, sorry. I love how they have a little crash barrier there. So nice. Wow, what a flight. What a flight. So as always, if you'd like to join us for the picture, or we're going to be over by the kind of the terminal there. I got to finish my little taxi here because, like I said, we're still over there. So good times. This is a really nice airplane. As you can see, it is definitely well designed, well engineered. It will get you there very smoothly, pretty quick. I've not checked fuel recently. We can see what it thinks we have. We have 1832 left. Yeah, we're fine. Like I said, 1840 left, so we're fine. Not bad, not bad. I like this plane. It's a little different than I normally fly. I'm not a big twin turboprop guy. I don't know. I find that kind of interesting niche of the market. Again, I like jets a little bit better. I like GA a little bit better, and I really like helicopters too. If anybody has any suggestions for future live streams, feel free to throw them out there. Like I said, we'll probably do something with Aerostar next because it's just such a neat airplane. But as you can see, this thing's solid. It really, really, really is solid, and it gets us there quite nicely. Not a lot of like chaos or anything along those lines. Bolzano traffic, red 6-4, clear the runway, Bolzano. Not a lot of that kind of chaos and nightmare that kind of goes along with it, but it's just so nice. Just so darn nice what they do with that kind of. And I would, for those of you looking for a turboprop that's a little bit like a bus, you can't do worse than this airplane. I'm going to go park here where there's only half of an aeroplane. I don't know what the deal with that is. All right, here, the codifier is going to sneak up on me in a second. All right, how warm is it in here? It's only 72 in here, so it's mostly too hot. Love it. Well, I'll give it a few moments to kind of spool down there. Love how you can go to reversion mode here. See everybody cooling off. But looks good to me. Looks good to me. Whoops, whoops, whoops. Ah, I love how it's got the little light switches. Such a nice touch. All right. I like how the propellers are still happily just kind of cruising. All right, there's the codifier there. I'll go ahead and zoom out there. I'll get a nice little picture with us. Nice little background here. Grab the Windows snip tool. All right, as always, if anybody has any quick comments, feel free to throw those over into the chat while you have the opportunity to do so. Otherwise, like I said, I will kind of wrap this up today. Like I said, it's been a good flight. It was about an hour or so. Wait a minute. Can I walk over to the codifier? Hang on, this is just going to be funny. I got my picture. This is lovely. Like I said, I will definitely do some stuff with the Aerostar probably in a couple weeks. I'm going to be on a bit of a journey later on this summer to kind of give me an opportunity to see it. There he is. Nice. Mind if I get in? This is so goofy. This is so goofy. All right, folks, other than that, thank you for coming by today. Hopefully everybody enjoyed, got a nice little pretty view. A very, 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 very hot summer here. Neat opportunity, really, really nice plane. Got a neat thing to come to this, and I will do some more of this another time. But other than that, enjoy.